Teams don't always run smoothly. You can get conflict within your team and conflict between your team and other teams or outsiders. And as a team leader, it can therefore fall to you to support your team through this conflict. So in this video, I want to look at 3 ways that you can act to support your team through conflict. There are 3 broad roles that you can play in supporting your team through conflict, and as we go through them, you'll find that you will have an increasing level of involvement in finding the resolution. And the first of these roles is what we might call the conflict coach. As a conflict coach, you're helping people to assess their situation for themselves, to assess it objectively and to identify the right solutions for them, to help them to put together their ideas and make their plans, and to reflect on how the conflict is evolving. Your role as a conflict coach is to help people to understand what's going on and to make choices that will work for them. The second role you can take is that of a mediator. The job of a mediator is to help the conflicting parties to properly hear one another, to engage properly, and as far as possible, to make objective assessments about what they believe and what the other party believes. It's partly about keeping people apart when the conflict is too hot, and it's partly about bringing them together so that they can work on resolving it. A mediator is someone who helps facilitate the process of resolving the conflict. The third role is that of arbitrator. An arbitrator also works with both parties to the conflict, but the difference is that an arbitrator needs to work on understanding the situation for themselves. They need to be able to listen to both parties and weigh up the strengths and the weaknesses of each perspective, to assess them against objective evidence and to start to see their way through to a fair resolution. Once you've determined what a fair resolution might be, perhaps even the right solution to the conflict, your next role is to work with all the parties to help them to recognise that that is the appropriate way to go. Ideally, you want to win over all the parties to the conflict to your proposed resolution. But often, the role of the arbitrator can be to enforce a resolution on the parties. Whether you're acting in the role of a conflict coach, mediator, or arbitrator, there is a fourth role that you must always play, and that is the role of referee. And the role of referee is to make sure that people play by the rules. In this case, we're talking about the rules of courtesy and respect. Respecting one another and respecting the cultural norms within which people are operating. And this can be particularly difficult if the parties in conflict have a different cultural background. So, in order to act as referee properly, you need to start to appreciate the different cultural backgrounds and what the cultural norms are for each individual, because sometimes the conflict can arise from a mismatch in their understanding of one another. You may agree or you may disagree with one or other of the parties to the conflict. The primary responsibility you have, though, is to ensure that, right or wrong, they express their views in ways that are respectful and appropriate. You must not allow any of them to start to behave in ways that are disrespectful, abusive, or discriminatory, or in any other way inappropriate. And if they do, you've got to reflect your disapproval by offering an appropriate sanction for that. You must certainly call out all behaviours which are inappropriate and are leading to an escalation of the conflict based on behaviours rather than on an objective assessment of the situation. Even if you choose not to get involved in the conflict yourself, as coach or mediator or arbitrator, I don't believe as a team leader you can ever duck the role of referee. If you do choose to get involved, then decide the right level of your involvement. The minimum involvement is to support the parties personally in understanding their own situation and making their own decisions. That can rise to facilitating the conversation, or even to taking a position yourself and perhaps enforcing it. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. There'll be loads more great management courses content coming up, so please do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.